Good afternoon, Alphas. This is our seventh weekly recap. So we're cruising right along here. Today's interview is going to be with at MoneyBoy. I know he's very active in premium, so a lot of you guys will know him. And one thing I want to mention right off the bat is everybody do not forget that the market is closed on Monday due to Labor Day. So we'll all be back at it on Tuesday, and make sure that you go out and eat some burgers and drink some beer or whatever you guys like to do. So I will let Ryan take it off here. Oh, and actually, real quick, make sure you scroll up in general chat here and download the slideshow PDF so that you guys can follow along with what we're talking about, and also get some more information and some headlines from throughout the week. And like I said, I will hand it off to Ryan right now so that he can go through our headlines and information from the week.
All right, thank you all for joining us. So we'll start off Monday. So the biggest thing Monday was Apple and Tesla beginning at their split adjusted level. I know it was kind of weird seeing Tesla down there and Apple, but other than that, nothing too major. So we head into Tuesday. So the S&P traded negative at open for anticipation of the Senate discussing a COVID bill with the White House. So I know we've been just kind of waiting for it's been almost a month now, waiting for this COVID bill. But later on Tuesday, this was offset in the middle of the day by positive economic data. So the July ISM manufacturing index, the IHS market manufacturing PMI, construction spending, and OPEC output were all positive. So that was another major thing for this week. There was a lot of economic data. That definitely the sentiment for this week. One moment. Okay, leading into Wednesday, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ hit the highs for the week on Wednesday. This was facilitated by more economic data. So the ADP private payrolls, motor sales, and durable goods orders were all positive. So like I said earlier, like the overall sentiment for Wednesday and this week was stimulus talk and economic optimism amid the coronavirus pandemic. So heading into Thursday, we would see a significant sell-off due to continued delays on the coronavirus bill, and then mixed economic data and outlook on the economy. So although economic data is slowly increasing and becoming positive, beating expectations, investors are beginning to realize that many of the sectors are still well below pre-pandemic levels. And then Friday, so the sell-off would continue a bit into today, but would later rebound midday. So today was back and forth due to more mixed economic data and, the upcoming Labor Day weekend and our extended weekend. So for a little bit of technical analysis for next week, I'm still bullish, and we're still chugging along. So SPY bounced off support at 335. I had that drawn out, I think, from last week, 2 weeks ago. The NASDAQ is still in an upward trend after bouncing off the lower trend line in EMA 50 on the daily. And the Dow bounced off support at 276 this week. So heading into some major earnings for this week, not too many. So Zoom, everyone knows Zoom. So they reported second quarter July 2020 earnings with the revenue of $663.5 million, smashing expectations of $498 million. So their revenue has grown about 355% on a year-over-year basis. Then Macy's, they reported revenue of $3.6 billion, squeaking past an estimate of $3.5 billion. Revenue has fallen 35.8% compared to the same quarter a year ago. And then DocuSign, they reported revenue of $342.2 million, beating expectations of $318 million. And their revenue has grown 45% over a year basis. So that's it on my end.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're fine.
Thought you were done. But yeah, so I just want to go over some key points from the week as well. I know Ryan gives you the more in-depth analysis. Just on Monday, the markets ended mixed to close out the best August in decades. The China manufacturing index slowed down throughout the month of August, and then the Dow Jones Industrial Average actually fell for the first day in 5. And then kind of the big news also was Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway announced new investments in Japanese trading firms. So he's going international there. And then on Tuesday, obviously markets rallied into September. Tesla announced their $5 billion offering and have since slid down since. And then President Trump's payroll tax holiday officially began on Tuesday, and that is for individuals earning less than $4,000 on a biweekly basis. Walmart also announced Walmart Plus, their competitor to Amazon Prime. And then, as Ryan mentioned with Zoom, their shares zoomed up 41% after that earnings report. And then finally on Wednesday, we had U.S. markets to the moon, actually. Tesla fell 10% on the other hand. And then our U.S. budget deficit fell to World War II levels. So that's the first time, or rose to World War II levels, rather, however you want to word that. In other big news, NASDAQ hit 12,000 for the first time. And then, unfortunately, Ford and Exxon are considering job cuts. Ford is looking to cut 1,400 jobs or salaried jobs, rather, by buying out the workers there. And then, kind of the biggest news of the day was Michael Jordan taking a stake in DraftKings as an advisor there. And then on Thursday, obviously, we all had a iffy day, and the markets tumbled as tech led the losses. U.S. initial job claims fell to 880 initial jobless claims. Fell to 881,000. Costco reported net sales of 13.56 billion for the month of August, which is plus 15% year over year. Something to watch out for with Costco, guys, is every month they actually report their previous month's earnings. So that can be good if you like Costco or like retail sales. And then also the Justice Department plans. I made a typo on the slideshow there, but the Justice Department plans to initiate an antitrust case against Google, possibly this month. And then finally, the U.S. trade deficit hit 63.6 billion, which is the highest it's been in 12 years. And let's see, on Friday, kind of the big headlines today were the stocks rebounding sharply after the decline in the morning. SoftBank was actually reportedly the NASDAQ whale. And what they mean by that is with the billions and billions of dollars that SoftBank has been pumping into companies in equity stakes, most notably tech and NASDAQ companies. Kind of the theory with that is that that money has been leading to such an enormous increase in share prices or stock prices for companies. And then the economy added 1.4 million jobs in August, and that puts us at about half of the jobs that were lost have now been recovered since the pandemic. So that's extremely positive news, and we should be looking forward to next week's numbers and next month's numbers at that. And then, unfortunately, Tesla shares are now 15% below the all-time high. So, let's take a look at that and see if we're going to get any lower. And it might be a good time to buy if you're into Tesla. And then the big companies today for the Dow Jones were American Express, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs leading the way. So, Ryan, you already talked about earnings, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. So then let's bring MoneyBoy in here and get this interview on the road.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Finally, my port recovered today after yesterday's losses.
Yes, excellent. I'm just going to make a quick note here in the chat, make sure everybody knows that they can type their questions for you. Just bear with me. There we go. All right, yeah, so obviously you're pretty popular here. Do you mind telling us your name, or do you just want to go by MoneyBoy?
So my name's Adi.
Adi, all right.
Yeah.
So why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started trading and when?
So I am a 19-year-old college student. Started trading when I turned 18. And for a while now, I've had an interest in financial markets, especially seeing my dad trade. So I decided, once I turned 18, and even before I turned 18, I was pretty excited to start my own brokerage account. Of course, I started with Robinhood. Started with $200. My first day, I was traveling, I was on the plane about to go to college. Somehow made $20 on the flight itself. I bought a position before boarding the flight, sold it after I landed. And then my first foray into options was I was back home visiting my friends, and I entered into a position, Twitter put actually. And then I made, I think, $30 in 5 minutes. And my friends were all shocked seeing how quickly I made this. And from there, that's what sparked my interest in options.
I love that you remember your first trades like that, especially the one on the plane. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You
it was
said
definitely
you said your college. Sorry, go ahead.
yes, it was definitely like my first trades were definitely an inspiration and got me motivated. And I definitely have a lot of significant trades that have boosted my confidence and my interest and passion for trading.
That's excellent. Are besides those first ones are there any trades that really stick out for you to this day, either good or bad?
Yes, actually, I have a significant good trade. This was when Tesla was having its very big uptrend in February before the hype started. I bought a 1100 call for $5. $5, like the entry price was 5 cents, so like a $5 initial buy-in, and
Wow.
the I sold it for $3,100.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely a memorable trade.
yeah. So my only regret is not buying more of those. If only I had gotten 10 of those when I was at that point, that would have significantly boosted my port. But that was my best trade to remember. And my worst trade was when the economy was reopening. I saw Shopify on someone, it was maintaining its highs. And I entered into a Shopify call, I think $10 out of the money. And somehow, as soon as I entered, I think 5 minutes in, it started dumping, and within I think 7 minutes of entering into the position, I'd already lost a grand. And then I decided to double down and enter into another contract to see if I could minimize my loss, and it just continued to dump, and I ended up having I think a 2.5 $2,500 loss with that position.
Yeah, that's a rough one. That'll stick with you for sure.
Yeah. But apart from that, I've still had like my overall experience with trading is very positive.
That's good. That's what we strive for here, especially. So you said you're a college student. You want to talk a little bit about your major? Are you in financials? What are you doing?
So I am a computer science student and I'm a junior this year. And I've had, I guess, like ever since I started trading, I've had a lot of interest in both the intersection of finance and computer science, which is why I'm actually starting a startup for algorithmic trading with some of my friends from high school.
That's cool. I know nothing about algorithms. I don't know how any of that works, so it's very impressive to me when people understand that. It can kind of capitalize on that, and like you said, even create a startup
Yeah.
centered around that.
So essentially, like the whole premise of the startup is we're trying to create modular trading strategies to work for any given financial asset class, whether it's equities, futures, forex, any given equity class, and any given derivative of that. So whether it be options or CFDs, things like that, and these modular trading strategies will allow for based off to find the best, I guess, combination of components for any given market condition.
That's awesome. I think when you get that kind of up and running, we're going to have to interview you again so you can talk a lot more about that and kind of let us all know how it works and whatnot.
Definitely, I guess like the startup in like the beginning of this year, like the end of January. So it's definitely a ways to come, and we're trying to turn this into a platform where people with no investing experience can put money into an app, and our algorithms will trade it for them and will generate returns better than an index fund. That's our overall eventual goal. So that's a ways away, probably at least 2 or so years away. But definitely along the way, we're planning to have milestones and releases, and definitely there's a lot of room for improvement and more goals to come.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear more about that in the future as you develop it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So obviously you want to do that, and you're in college. Is trading something you can see yourself doing full time, or what are your long term goals with trading?
So I guess my main plans are to turn this startup into a full-time job, and along with that, trade along the way. So I guess an ideal day would be get up before market open, make some trades, and make a few grand or more, hopefully, and then do some work for my startup. And then by the time like 1 o'clock ends, done for the day, and I can enjoy the rest of my day in peace.
That's not a bad day at all. Are you on the East Coast or talking
Yes,
Pacific?
I'm on the East Coast,
Okay.
but I want, like, my overall goal is to ideally move to LA in the next few years.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, you'd be done by 11 a.m. You can't beat that.
Definitely.
So you mentioned earlier that you started off with Robinhood like most people do. Is that something you're still using, or have you moved on to something more advanced?
So I'm using Robinhood still for executions. I guess part of me likes the convenience of being able to check on my trades wherever I am, even if I'm on the go. But when I'm making
For
trades,
sure.
especially day trades, I use Webull for charting, and I'm planning to move my port in pieces to Tastyworks because I've seen that they have very good option execution, and especially they like, I guess their system is very good at the methodology that I've been using for trades a lot, which is using spreads, and I'll talk about that a little bit later because that's, I guess, what I'm most known for in the chat. So I'm moving my port in pieces to Tastyworks over the next few weeks.
Fair enough. That's I like how you're doing it in pieces, so you're not on like a 7 to 10 day hold from trading overall.
Yeah.
So obviously you kind of had a great start into trading and option trading specifically. What do you think is one of the things that you struggled with initially, and then what do you think is something that you still struggle with today?
Initially, I would say the biggest thing was being greedy and not taking profits, because I would have positions that would make me money, or I would gamble into something and it would somehow work, or I would somehow take an earnings trade that end up being favorable, but I would just continue to hold and think that I could squeeze out more gains. Similarly to what I did with Tesla, when I initially put in, I think, $500 in total, I was up to 10K at one point, but I didn't take profits. The next day it slightly corrected, so I got out for $7,000 profit in total rather than 10,000. But that was what I struggled with initially. Now the biggest thing is not FOMOing in, because there have definitely been times, especially with Tesla, which is what I like to trade the most, where I may miss the initial pop but still want to get in on the action, and that's why I FOMO in. And it's something that I've been working with and trying to discipline myself, especially in a risk management standpoint. But it's definitely something I feel that a lot of people struggle with, because you see, oh, Tesla's up 5% for the day, 10% for the day, close to 100%, close to $100 day, and you want to get in.
Oh yeah, I completely understand that. You know, when a stock is up, like Tesla, it's up $30, and you're like, how is it going to keep going? And you don't get in, and then suddenly it's up another $30, and you're kicking yourself for not getting in at that point.
Exactly.
So obviously that kind of ties into the emotions of trading. You know, how do you keep yourself from getting that FOMO, or keep yourself from getting emotional if you have a really good or a really bad trade?
Definitely. So I guess one of the things is, once I either hit a certain amount of money that I've made, or I've lost a certain amount of money for the day, I say I'm done. That's it. Not going to look at charts for the rest of the day. Going to take the rest of the time. We're going to take the rest of the time off to relax and de-stress, come back at it the next day. And then, but in general, in terms of like making trades, I just try to stay focused when I'm in a major trade, especially when I'm doing day trades. I try to stay focused, and essentially, especially if you put a lot of money into a day trade, it's definitely an adrenaline rush for me. So I let that kick in and let that give me a boost. And then once I'm out, I sort of breathe a sigh of relief. And if it goes against me, I have stops in place to cut my losses if need be. So I definitely try to follow all of those aspects when trading.
Mhm. Good. I love that you said that you kind of close the apps or your laptop and you walk away, because I think too many people make a big trade or make a big loss and then kind of revenge trade, or just hop into something else because they're on a hot streak. So I think, a lot of times I do the same thing. You just close the apps, you're done for the day, move on, hang out in Discord or whatever it may be. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely like out of sight, out of mind kind of mentality. That definitely helps.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind. We're going to write that one down. So do you have a routine for trading? Kind of get up, have your coffee, hop in? What does that look like?
Usually what I do is, I guess it starts at night. After market closes, after futures open, I usually take a look at how things are doing before I go to bed around 1 or 2 in the morning. Take a look, make a note of what things I should look at in the morning. What are significant events for the next day? And then I usually get up around 8:30 or so, have a cup of oatmeal, and then I take a look at charts, take a look at economic data, because that usually comes out around 8:30 or so, as well as any earnings that have happened between the previous close and the current open. And then sort of prepare my watch list for what things to look at. Look at what people in the chat are saying. That's a big one as well, because the chat gives a good indication of things that I may have missed. And then I take like the last 5 minutes or so to, I guess, calm myself down and get myself into a mindset and a headspace ready to make trades. And then I ensure that because I'll already have made a plan for what things I need to do the previous night, whether it be positions that I'm swinging that I need to close at open, or positions that I want to open right when market opens. I'll have a note of what things, like I'll have them written down in a journal of what things I have to do. I'm already ready to go at market open, so it's not a panic for what do I do here. So I usually take the first 5 minutes or so to execute what things that I have planned out to do for open. And then from there, I just look for trade ideas.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about your specific trading strategy? Do you not trade within the first half hour? Or just how does your strategy look like?
Usually what I do is I'll have prepared my watch list in advance. So, and usually I'll keep I have 2 monitors. So I'll have one monitor with, I guess, an overall market outlook, and the other set up to things that I'm actively looking at. Usually the previous night I'll have that set up at Tesla, just because I like looking at Tesla first and gauging to see what Tesla is doing as an overall thermometer for the rest of the market. Although sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyways, my usual trading strategy is when I notice a pattern in charts that matches with my desired technical setup. So I see that a stock is not overbought, that it's having a lot of momentum, that there's a significant volume pop, and that it's essentially maintaining its momentum for a while. I will enter in, and then I will either do one of two things. I will enter into this position as a spread in and of itself. So I will enter in as either a call debit spread or a call credit spread. It's call debit spread for a bullish position, call credit spread for a bearish position, or a put debit spread for a bearish position. And then so I'll either enter it in as a spread, or I'll enter in a call, and then to take profits, because of course in most cases, if you have a port under 25,000, you can't day trade consistently. What I will do is I will sell the next strike up, which then turns it into a spread.
Oh, okay, that's one of the ghetto spreads, right? That we refer to.
Yes.
All right. So you talked about your technical setup, and if a stock is going to fall within that, that's kind of what gets your eyes going. Do you want to talk a little bit about your secret sauce? Like what kind of indicators you use, what works for you?
Mainly in terms of indicator wise, like my setup is EMA, Bollinger Bands, moving averages. I think I have I can take a look. I have the 5, 10, 60, and 120 moving averages. RSI, rate of change. VWAP I use sometimes. And then as well as volume. Volume's a very significant indicator for me, because if I see that a stock's having a lot of volume that deviates from the normal, or if it's having a significant volume pop, I know that people know that something's going to happen. So it's definitely a very short-term opportunity to get into a position, get out very quickly. And that's what I like doing the best, is trades where I can enter into a position and within 5 minutes be out.
So scalping is your main strategy there.
Yes. So like in those scenarios where I see a potential scalp opportunity, that's what I do. And then I may turn it into a ghetto spread. That way I still have taken profits. And I make sure that when I turn it into a ghetto spread, that the credit that I receive is greater than my minimum buy-in. So I've at least locked in some profits. And then as long if it closes above the difference between my two strikes, I will keep that the difference between the two strikes as well. So I'll make additional profit there.
Awesome. That's a good strategy. It seems you kind of figured it out after a lot of experience.
I think so. I saw in the chat someone was asking what the last indicator was. It was I believe I was saying view up as my last indicator. But my setup in order is EMA, Bollinger Bands, MACD, moving averages, the 5, 10, 60, 120 moving averages, and then rate of change and RSI. RVOL is something that I've been seeing a lot about in the chat, and definitely something that I'm going to set up in the near-term future.
Yeah, I know Omar loves the RVOL, and it sounds like you have a full chart over there.
Yeah. And then I've also heard a lot of good things about TTM squeeze. So that's one that I've been looking into as well.
Yeah, I think John would be a good person to talk to about that because I know he uses it and definitely a few other leaders. I haven't used it yet, but obviously reach out to any of the leaders if you have any questions on that, guys. And I got a couple more questions for you, MoneyBoy. So let's see. Obviously, they say that 98% of traders fail. What do you think is the reason for that? And then on top of that, what would be your best advice to new traders?
I guess the number one reason why most traders fail is not having a discipline and either FOMOing into a position or seeing that you're making a lot of money but not taking profits and taking profits when you can. So as a result, they end up not losing the money that they put in, which is why I'm a big advocate for these ghetto spreads, because you can secure in a credit that's at least your minimum profit. And most times you will make more than that by holding the ghetto spread through.
Oh yeah, for sure. So my last question to you is going to be, how did you find out about trading alphas and what made you stay with us?
So I saw a few Instagram ads for trading alphas, and I saw the testimonials, and I joined the free trial, saw what the hype was about, enjoyed the community of trading alphas and how everyone supports each other, and especially how people give trade ideas to each other. Even when it could disadvantage them, they definitely there's a community here of people supporting each other, and that's what I enjoy the most. And that's one of the reasons why I'm staying with trading alphas, because the overall community support is definitely very, very helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, the community aspect is definitely my biggest thing and what I preach to people. And just being able to bounce ideas off of each other and have everybody kind of looking at different industries or different sectors, and that all comes together and is what makes the group great. So yeah, definitely thank you so much. I'm going to pass this over to Ryan if he has any questions for you.
Yeah, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So you said you're a college student. Like, I'm also a college student, so I completely understand. So how have you been maintaining a balance between trading and going to school for those, starting to go back to work, going to school, etc.?
So of course now it's easier to do so because classes for a lot of people are remote. So I'm staying essentially I log out of my I essentially turn off my screens when I'm in class. That way I'm not distracted. And I usually follow the same discipline of when when I've made a good amount of profit for the day, I don't look at market information anymore because I don't want to continue to FOMO in. But apart from that, I just try and stay disciplined and only focus on trading for only a specific amount of time for the day. So maximum an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I get carried away. But I try to limit the amount of time that I trade because I also have college classes as well as work for my startup, which I usually put in at least 5 to 6 hours a day of coding and meetings. and research, because we're trying to get this thing ideally in the next year and a half before me and my other two co-founders graduate, is when we want to get this startup official and have a product ready to go and start essentially turning this into a business. That way this can be our full-time jobs.
There we go. Awesome, man. Yeah, I know it's hard for some people, and yeah, like you said, man, remaining, sticking to your schedule and keeping up with classwork is definitely a big one for sure.
Yeah.
Procrastination is very easy to fall into.
Just saw a piece of news that got posted in general chat. Tesla will not be added to the S&P 500 index and is down 6% after hours, and likely a lot more on Tuesday. So unfortunately, people that bought into the hype are going to have a bad time for the next few days, but there's still significant catalyst events. So I would say follow proper risk management and use spreads when you can, and you'll be rewarded with patience.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of took that over for us. We're gonna have to have you be our breaking news guy next week.
And there's also battery day, of course.
Yeah, that's coming up. I think September 18th, give or take, that area.
I think the 21st or the 22nd, I believe. But definitely going to be a significant catalyst event.
Yeah. So next couple of weeks, that'll be on high watch, and I'm sure we'll get more news on that. But yeah, let's see. Anybody in the chat have any more questions for MoneyBoy here, or we kind of touched on everything?
I think there was some questions for him up in the
indicator. Man, everybody loves your motivation though. Okay. So Darren says, got one from Darren. He says, being so young, where did you gain the focus and patience to handle trading along with money management skills?
I would say that it's, I guess, a combination of experience as well as my dad, who also trades. So a lot of times I will bounce ideas off of him because we have workstations set up next to each other. So we both have dual monitors, and we both we talk about trades sometimes when we're trading. So I just bounce ideas off of him, and I've seen how he uses spreads and I guess other complicated option strategies to minimize his risk. So that's sort of why I got the inspiration for that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool that you guys get to kind of hang out with each other and bounce ideas off each other. It's like you got your own little group over there. And G1 Rome says, who's your favorite alpha leader? So that's probably the most important question we've asked.
I would say I guess Clark isn't a leader, but I love Clark's alerts, and especially there was one significant Netflix play that I took that Clark signaled that ended up yielding me 800% within the day. So that was a notable, I guess, sticking point for why I also liked alphas.
Yeah, not many people get 800% in one day, so that's kind of incredible that you managed.
Yeah. It was actually awesome. I was in class when the alert was signaled right before I had class. So I entered into it, and this is over the summer when I was taking summer classes. So I entered into it, and then one of my friends who also entered into a similar, he also was trading Netflix. He said, "Look at Netflix," and he texted me in all caps. I took a look at it, saw that it was surging up, I think like $10 or $20 from what I had entered into it, and then I saw the alert that I entered into go up 300, 400%. I was like, oh, do I turn this into a ghetto spread now, or what should I do? And then I turned it in to a ghetto spread right before it started falling a bit. So I ended up with 800%. So just perfect timing there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Ryan, any more questions, or we kind of hit everything?
No, I'm good on my end.
Yeah, I'm good on my end. So thank you very much, MoneyBoy. This was a great interview. I love your energy. I know everybody in the chat loves you, especially up at Premium. So thanks for taking the time to do this. This was, I think, one of our longest interviews. We got the most questions out.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
and
again, thank you.
All right. One other thing I wanted to mention is that my startup, we are working on products along the way. And one thing that we've made and that we want to release to people in the near term future is a Discord bot slash tool that allows you to get text alerts for positions. So you can essentially give it the English version of a position. So like Tesla 420 call with the expiry date. And then it will send you a Discord message and a notification, or a Discord message and even a text when that position changes by 5%, for example.
We'll definitely have to talk to you more about that, and everybody needs to keep their eyes open for that too.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to plug?
As of now, no. This bot also has some small market scanners, so it can do things like given a list of tickers, find the highest volume to OI difference. So somewhat of unusual option activity if you see that a specific option contract has like 1,000 volume to OI difference for the day. So it's definitely something that
it's very technical.
Yeah, and as we add more features, I'll definitely mention them in the chat and plug them to you guys. That way you can use them when we start releasing them.
For sure, yeah, we're all going to keep our eyes open. I know that.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah, so I think that concludes the interview, guys. I'm going to kick MoneyBoy out of here now, or just mute him. And if you have any questions for him, go access him in premium or general here, shoot him a DM, and I'm sure he'd love to talk some more about his bot and the things that he's got going on.
Yeah, feel free to message me. I'm always open to questions.
Awesome. And Clark says here in general chat that he's going to give you a free month of Alpha Tier.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated, Clark. And once again, thank you for having me for this interview.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
So, next order of business, I think here we talked about earnings and the headlines and the week. Everybody downloaded the slideshow. We had the interview with MoneyBoy. We talked about Tesla, the news that just dropped. They're down 6% after hours. So I think the only thing we've got left to do is do a little bit of Q&A. If anybody has any questions or wants to talk about something that happened this week, feel free to hop in the chat or just type it out here in general and we'll go over it.
Yeah, any suggestions too? Anything I want to see for the further sessions, we're open.
Exactly. Yeah.
Please, any feedback, anyone you'd like to see interviewed.
Yep, anything you guys want to see on the slideshow or anything you want us to talk about, whether that's numbers or information, topics, whatever it is, let us know either through DM or type it in here. We'll write it down and get on the ball for that next week. Barbara wants a selfie, but of at him. I can't guarantee that.
I wish Smiley. I've just been taking it easy recently, taking a step back. But be on the lookout eventually. Yes, Juan. No questions, anything?
I'm just sending out a Discord message here. Wow, this is the first, so it only took us, 7 weeks to get no questions? We've answered everything?
That's just how good of a job we did, Everyone's shocked. Oh, there we go. What's the thoughts on this sell-off? Anyone playing puts? Like I said earlier about the technical analysis for the major indices, I am still bullish from what I can see. We bounced off some supports on the Dow Jones off of SPY. NASDAQ bounced off the EMA 50 and the bottom trend line. I think this is just, some profit taking, but we're still going upwards in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this is a short-term pullback. Obviously, 2 months from now, we'll probably not even remember this, and everything will be significant percentages higher. But for now, whenever you're buying something, especially with calls, make sure you're buying time. Try to avoid kind of weeklies or maybe 2 weeks. If you can get 3 to 4 or 5 weeks out, do that just to get yourself a little bit more safety, and you'll be less susceptible to any short-term dips like we had, or dumps rather, like we experienced over the last 2 days. But going into next week, personally, I'm a little mixed, but still on the bullish side, just because of that reversal that we had today. It kind of looked like we really hit a bottom there and shot back up, and only closed down, I think, 0.7% for the day. SPY closed down 0.39% for the day. So, I think next week we'll see a lot of recovery happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see a good buying opportunity, if anything. But for puts, I mean, maybe for some day trades throughout the week, we have at least one sell-off a week every 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah. And let's see. Manny says, is it better to get leaps or stocks for long term? That'll be up to your own risk tolerance, and then also how much you want to make, essentially. You could spend $1,000 on options 4 months out and get 100% and you make $1,000, or you could spend $1,000 on a stock. And what are the odds that that stock's going to go up 100% in 4 months? So, think about your opportunity cost, your risk to reward ratio, and see if that fits your kind of budget and your tolerance. Let's see. Kevin says, I've heard different things about Apple's event, but I heard Tuesday. I don't know for sure. I did see somebody say Tuesday, but I'm sure over the weekend or on Monday we'll kind of get a confirmation for that event. But they always have an event in September, so make sure we're keeping our eyes open for that.
Are we talking about the Apple? The world. What do they call the event now? World something event.
The WWDC.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it happens every year. Generally, a lot of it is for programmers and developers, and usually there's new product announcements. But I think some of the product announcements have already been leaked out earlier this year or recently. The new phones and their new AirBook were some of the products that were leaked out.
Yeah, and Apple recently dumped Intel for their the processors, I believe.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they'll be making
last year. It's not brand new,
yeah.
but yeah, I'll try and
so lots of Apple
stuff if I get anything.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys will definitely talk about it the night before, and you do nightly watch list up in the alpha tier now, so keep your guys open for that. I think we'll give it another 3 minutes here or so, unless we get a bunch more questions. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy your Labor Day. Don't forget, market is closed on Monday. But Monday night, we'll be right back in here for the nightly watch list with Steve and John. What time are you guys doing that, Steve?
You talking about tonight?
Just in general, because you guys are doing it every night.
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. every night. Alpha tier.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, everyone get your rest and stay safe over the weekend. Don't do anything crazy. Yeah, I think it's
Barbara
slightly
says,
bearish.
can I get an opinion on that?
We'll see.
All right, I'm going to cap it off here at what Necrodingus says. And then we're going to head out.
Rude.
Oh, and he stopped typing. Come on. You're the last one.
Come on, dingus.
Dingus. Don't be shy.
Yeah, we got 10 seconds. 10.
Ding, Lord.
9.
I saw you typing over there.
We thought you had the last question.
What's up?
All right, guys. I think we should cut it off here. So this was a great Friday recap, our 7th one. Great interview with MoneyBoy. And like I said, market closed on Monday. Make sure you guys don't forget that. And enjoy your weekend and have a great Labor Day.
Thanks, man.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.